You picked up unusual luck before you even woke up today. Mercury met Jupiter exact just after midnight. The kind of alignment that makes a message land better than you expect, an idea sound smarter out loud than it did in your head. But you don't get to coast on it all day. By mid-morning, the moon squares Mars, and something small threatens to turn into a fight you didn't start. The real question today: do you use what's already working in your favor before the friction hits, or waste the morning defending yourself instead? Right around 12:22 a.m. Eastern, Mercury met Jupiter exact in Leo. Both at 9 and 10 degrees, the planet of words meeting the planet of luck. That means the confidence you're carrying into today wasn't manufactured, it was locked in while you were asleep. If there's a message you've been drafting in your head, send it this morning. This window, already building since the 13th, is genuinely more favorable than most mornings this month. By 4:24 a.m., before most people are up, the moon leaves Virgo for Libra, and the mood softens from critical to diplomatic before your day even starts. This is also a first quarter moon, the exact point where the moon squares the sun, astrology's pressure point in the monthly cycle, where whatever you started 2 weeks ago gets pushed forward through friction or stalls because the friction feels like a stop sign instead of a green light. That pressure lands early. At 8:36 a.m., inside a window running from about 4 a.m. to just before 3 p.m., the moon squares Mars exact, a short fuse aspect that makes you quicker to react and slower to pause. Right as the day gets going, your commute, your first coffee, your first message from work. A comment that would normally roll off you might catch instead. Let it sit 20 minutes before you respond. Most of what flares up under this aspect looks smaller by lunch than it feels right now. Mid-morning layers further. At 10:13, the moon trines Pluto, and something real surfaces from underneath the noise. 19 minutes later, at 10:32, the moon opposes Neptune and blurs it right back again. Clarity and fog sitting 20 minutes apart. Notice what comes up. Don't rush to decide which one is true yet. The payoff arrives after lunch and rides into the evening. The moon trines Uranus exact at 1:04 p.m., active from mid-morning all the way to nearly 7:30 tonight. The aspect most likely to hand you the sudden thread that ties the whole day together, usually while you're doing something completely unrelated. So give yourself unstructured time somewhere in that window, a walk, a drive, because this aspect rewards exactly that kind of looseness. And it still live well into your evening, even after its exact peak passes. Underneath all of it sits the same slower backdrop shaping the whole season: Saturn, Neptune, and Pluto retrograde in Aries and Aquarius. The quiet undertone structure and idealism have both been turned inward for review, while today's faster moon aspects play out right on top of it. Faster and easier to actually feel than the slow planets moving underneath. Here's how today actually lands across the signs. Aries, today's tension runs through your closest relationship. Someone wants more directness from you than you're ready to give. Maybe a partner asking, "What do you actually want?" mid-conversation this morning. Or you catching yourself giving a vague answer just to avoid the follow-up question. Say the true thing gently instead of deflecting it with a joke, even if it feels like it costs you something in the moment. Taurus, work carries today's friction, a task that should take 20-minute stretches into an hour. A system glitches right when you need it most, or a coworker asks you to redo something you thought was already finished. Don't force a fix before this afternoon. The Uranus trine likely hands you the shortcut you've been missing, possibly from a completely unrelated conversation. Gemini, Mercury, and Jupiter light up your own words this morning. Send that message, pitch that idea, ask for the thing you've been putting off. It lands better than you think. But this morning's square can turn a joke sharper than you meant it. Maybe with a sibling, a coworker, or a close friend over text, where tone gets lost and a small comment reads as an attack. Keep it light on purpose and reread anything sharp before you hit send. Cancer. Something at home asks for your attention today. A parent's comment that lands wrong. A partner's silence that lasts a beat too long. A bill on the counter you've been avoiding opening. It may arrive with more heat than expected around 8:30 this morning. The mid-morning trine says there's something real worth actually hearing underneath it, not just the tone it arrived in. Leo, this is your day. Mercury and Jupiter met in your own sign overnight, so whatever you say or pitch today carries extra weight. The raise conversation, the message you've been drafting for days, the introduction you've been nervous to make. Use it before this morning's friction makes you defensive over something that won't matter tomorrow. Virgo, money or self-worth is highlighted. A client haggling over a rate, a friend asking to borrow more than feels comfortable. A moment you catch yourself underpricing what you do out of habit rather than fairness. That conversation may land with more edge this morning than usual, maybe over text where the number looks blunter than it would in person. Trust the afternoon's clarity over the morning's frustration. Libra, the moon moved into your own sign before sunrise. So today's mood shift is especially yours, sharper and more critical overnight. Already softer and more diplomatic by the time you're up, let yourself actually soften instead of just performing calm for whoever's watching. Especially if someone close to you needs the real version of you today, not the composed one. Scorpio, something private wants your attention today. A memory that resurfaces out of nowhere, a text you keep rereading without replying. A thought you haven't said out loud to anyone. This morning's aspects may stir it up more than usual. Right around the same hours everyone else is dealing with their own friction. Sit with it yourself before you explain it to anyone else, even if the urge to talk it out is strong. Sagittarius, a friend's comment lands harder this morning than it should. In the group chat, at breakfast, in a passing remark that wasn't even about you. The afternoon likely brings a clearer read on whether it was really about you at all, or just their bad day passing through you on its way somewhere else. Give it a few hours before you decide how much it actually meant. Capricorn, career pressure shows up today. A boss's short reply that reads colder than intended. A deadline that suddenly feels tighter than it did yesterday. A meeting that gets moved up without warning. It isn't the full picture, and it isn't a verdict on how you're doing overall. Whatever insight this afternoon brings, act on it tomorrow, not in the heat of today. Aquarius, a belief or a plan for your future gets tested today, maybe through an argument that feels bigger than its actual topic, over something as small as where to eat or as large as where you're both headed. You probably already know which part of your own view needs updating, even if you'd rather the other person back down first. Pisces, something shared with someone else, a joint account, a favor owed, an emotional tangle you can't fully untangle from your own feelings, is today's theme. Let the late morning confusion pass before you try to resolve it for good. And resist the urge to send the long message explaining everything right now. Today isn't a lucky day pretending to be simple, and it isn't a hard day pretending to be all friction. It's both a real overnight advantage, a real morning test, and an afternoon built to explain the whole thing if you give it room. Use what you already have, survive the morning without burning anything down, and stay open enough this afternoon and evening to catch what it's handing you. By tomorrow, the version of today you remember will depend less on what actually happened this morning and more on whether you gave the rest of the day a chance to put it in perspective. If this resonated, hit like and subscribe.